The elephant who dug a hole for 11 hours finally pulls out something no one expected. Elephants are among the most intelligent and intuitive species in the animal kingdom, despite their obtuseness. They wear their hearts on their sleeves just like humans, and it's pretty obvious when something bothers them. This was the case with one Indian elephant. A large crowd gathered to watch this elephant dig a hole in the mud for 11 hours straight and all night long. The villagers were well aware that this was not typical behavior and that something was terribly wrong to cause her to act in this manner. However, the bystanders were shocked when they realized what she was doing. A herd of about 60 elephants was spotted walking through a dusty region of northeastern India in 2015. The rainy seasons and high altitude of this landscape are well known. The Royal Bengal tiger, leopard golden cat, fishing cat, marbled cat, and other animals live in the region's forests. The elephants had been traveling for miles when something truly terrible happened. The elephants were traveling through Chhatra district, about 100 miles from Ranchi, the state capital of Jharkhand. The city has a temperate climate and served as Bihar's summer capital until Jharkhand was split up in 2000. As a result, it is known as the City of Waterfalls and a place where elephants can be seen from time to time. Migrating elephants were nothing new to the villagers, but one in particular caught their attention. Elephants are the world's largest land mammals. Humans are their only predators. Elephants are gentle animals unless they're forced to be otherwise by their need to protect themselves. They're accustomed to traveling elephants in the Chhatra district, but there was something odd about one elephant in particular this time. This elephant's behavior was mysterious and erratic. The other elephants were no longer visible. Instead, villagers surrounded her in a muddy field as the hours passed. What had she been up to? What had caused her to become separated from the rest of her herd? But these questions would be answered soon. Elephants lived in large groups with male and female elephants separated. Males and females only interact with each other for mating purposes and brief social interactions. Females live in a group for the rest of their lives and raise their children together. So when the villagers saw this elephant alone, it was a strange sight. However, they soon discovered why. The elephant created quite a stir. She was agitated and the locals couldn't figure out why. The villagers watched as the elephant, now separated from her herd, pushed her trunk into the dirt. But the question on everyone's mind was why she left the herd in the first place. Elephants don't abandon one another. When an elephant is injured, the other elephants try to help, even if staying and helping puts them in danger. If an elephant in the group is forced to move slowly due to injury or old age, the other elephants in the group will follow suit. When an elephant dies, the entire herd mourns his loss. However, the herd was nowhere to be found, and this lonely elephant was acting strangely on its own. The villagers were taken aback and decided to investigate what the elephant was up to. The villagers were curious as to what the elephant was up to, but they were concerned that the elephant had been injured and was ready to attack. The villagers were aware that something was wrong, but they were too afraid to investigate. Finally, however, one man stepped forward to take a look. Jitendra Tiwari, a villager who was tired of waiting, approached the elephant slowly. He got closer to the elephant with each step. He was well aware that he would be required to persuade the elephant to trust him, so he walked slowly towards the elephant. He was balancing on his toes. The elephant, however, noticed him and snapped. The elephant, according to Jitendra Tiwari, had an angry but also terrified expression on its face. The elephant began to make noise for Jitendra to move away from him. That's exactly what he did. Jitendra returned to the other villagers, but he'd seen something. He waved to them, eager to tell them what he'd seen. He realized she was sifting through the dirt. The elephant braced herself by burying her trunk in a large ditch with her back legs. She worked quickly, removing as much mud as she could from the hole, but Jitendra was baffled as to why the elephant was acting this way. She took a few steps back now and then, clearly exhausted. Then she repeated the process over and over, digging for 11 hours in a row. She dug so hard from dusk to dawn that the majority of her herd abandoned her. What exactly was going on? Elephants spend a significant portion of their days searching for food and water to feed their enormous appetites. They're hygienic animals who bathe daily. Elephants only get 4 to 5 hours of sleep per day, but this elephant didn't engage in any of the usual elephant activities. This one was on a mission. The elephant refused to give up digging. Even if the elephant wore herself out, the situation remained dangerous. Jitendra was well aware that they needed to devise a strategy to frighten the elephant into investigating the hole. He gathered with the other villagers to brainstorm session. They knew what they needed to do after a half hour of debating. As a result, they woke up and got to work. To distract the elephant, they drove trucks full of delicious food. The trucks were loaded with bananas and other tasty treats for the elephant. For a long time, the elephant hadn't eaten, so they were confident that this would assist in moving the elephant out of the way. All they had to do now was wait for elephant dinner time. In a single day, an adult elephant can consume up to 300 pounds of food, but that's to be expected from the world's largest land animal. Furthermore, this elephant hadn't eaten in a long time, so the elephant would only need a few more hours to go looking for food. But she was adamant about not doing it, so what exactly was going on? The elephant was exhausted to the point of collapsing on the ground, but like a boxer recovering from a knockout, she rose to her feet. She began to notice all of the food around her after that. She'd lost interest in the villagers and began walking towards the food trucks. It was time for the villagers to investigate. Finally, the elephant turned away from the hole and began eating from the food trucks. The villagers were able to examine the hole, but Jitendra knew that if everyone ran to the hole simultaneously, the elephant would be startled. As a result, he and a few other villagers walked calmly to the hole. The villagers needed to proceed with caution because the elephant could be dangerous, and they didn't know what was wrong. But as they got closer, they realized what had happened. Her calf had gotten stuck in the muddy ditch. Needless to say, the mother elephant aggravated the situation by digging. She was actually pushing mud into the hole with her size and strength, potentially suffocating her baby. Finally, the villagers realized they were running out of time. By attempting to dig her out, the elephant risked killing her own baby. Something had to be done. The villagers were well aware of the dangers that awaited them if they left the animals alone. The baby elephant would either suffocate or starve to death. But worried as they were, what else could they do? It wasn't as simple as grabbing the baby elephant by its legs or trunk and pulling him out of the hole to save him. The mother was almost certainly not going to let them near her child, so the villagers had to think outside the box and be cautious. Jitendra Tiwari recorded the entire ordeal and later recounted the villagers' rescue efforts. The villagers first drove a few banana trucks up to the ditch and scared the mother away. We used that time to remove the heap of sand deposited near the well that was making it difficult for her to rescue the baby, Jitendra said, while the mother elephant was at a safe distance away. But would it work? The villagers then moved the banana truck away from the hole, allowing the mother elephant to return to the hole and retrieve her calf. She could now work on level ground without kicking any more mud into the well, so they hoped at least. The mother elephant was finally able to wrap her trunk around her mud-splattered baby after an 11-hour struggle. Then she dragged her young calf to safety with a few good heaves. Finally, the villagers and the mother's efforts appeared to have paid off. The mother elephant could finally relax now that her calf was back on solid ground. The two pachyderms even walked away with their trunks entwined according to villager reports. That was akin to an elephant kissing someone. The mother and her calf walked away from the village side by side, ready to rejoin the rest of the herd now that the ordeal was over. These two would undoubtedly never forget the villagers who came to their aid. It goes without saying that when there's trouble on the water, you want naval officers on the scene, and this was certainly the case when sailors off the coast of Sri Lanka recently spotted a strange shape in the water. A Sri Lankan naval vessel was performing a series of practice maneuvers in the ocean in July 2017. The officers had not anticipated that their drills would turn into a real-life emergency, but they did. The sailors noticed a strange shape struggling beneath the surface as they moved deeper into the water, so they veered off course, curious to see if they could assist, but unfortunately they were completely unaware of what they were about to embark on. They were stunned when they got close to the object. The strange shape struggling in the water was an elephant. The poor animal had gotten himself into a situation where he was swimming for his life more than 9 miles out in open sea. The crew jumped into action right away, plotting the best course of action for rescuing the stranded elephant. They also immediately notified the Department of Wildlife. They weren't animal experts after all, and they need every bit of assistance they could get. With no time to waste, the sailors moved as close to the struggling elephant as they could safely get so that they could secure him with ropes. It was a difficult task. No one wanted to upset the animal or put him in any further danger than he was already in. This valiant officer took the lead. He dove into the water, putting his life on the line to tie a rope around the frantic creature. But unfortunately, even though the elephant was clearly in distress, he was still capable of injuring the officer. The officers needed to work as quickly as possible, but they also needed to work as carefully as possible. Despite being able to breathe, the elephant was thrashing around in the water and the ocean was rough. Finally, the officers secured the boat by tying ropes to it. The ship slowly returned to shallow waters, dragging the elephant behind it. No one knew how the poor creature ended up so far out to sea, though some speculated that he was probably swept away by a strong current. Although the officers' actions were critical to the elephant's rescue, they wouldn't be able to call the mission a success until the animal was safely handed over to the Department of Wildlife. The Department of Wildlife took over after the rescue portion of the mission was completed. Having safely guided the elephant to the Yanoya area in Pulmodai, the animal was handed over to the wildlife officials for onward action. Elephants wandering into the surf for a dip in the cool, refreshing water is not uncommon, believe it or not. Unfortunately for this pachyderm, the situation deteriorated as soon as he ventured too far from the shore.